So right here we have the 75314, the Bad Batch attack shuttle, and I think this is a pretty nice set with definitely some nice minifigures. I do think some people were disappointed, but I think a lot of people are gonna be buying this set for the minifigures. So we're gonna be starting off with those first. And here we have Wrecker, and I think a lot of people are gonna really like this minifigure design, and a lot of people like how he looks in the Bad Batch because he looks pretty cool. They added shoulder pads on this one, whatever you call it, to give Wrecker that extra bulk to his figure, which I think was definitely needed because Wrecker definitely isn't like your standard size minifigure, and I think these shoulder pads got that across really nicely. His helmet is kind of inaccurate, doesn't feel like right, like it kind of feels a bit off for Wrecker, and then with the teeth, those are definitely supposed to be closer. The mold they probably should have done a new mold though. They could get away. They got away fairly well with this one. Like, this isn't really necessarily as much of a need for new mold, but it would have been nice if they had done one. And then removing the helmet, we have a pretty nice face of Wrecker with a correct, accurate clone trooper skin tone, which is always great to see, and I'm glad they did this for the Bad Batch. And pretty nice with his eye and the scar there. Really like that. And second up, we have Tech, and I think some people were definitely disappointed with the helmet because you can see it kind of droops a bit there. It's supposed to be, it's like a regular helmet kind of, but Lego made it look more like, remind me a bit drooping down, kind of remind me of Squidward. It's supposed to be more like just like a regular helmet. And I think also people wanted this visor thing to be able to move up and down. Unfortunately, it doesn't. It's just solid. They did provide a nice backpack with him. Definitely kind of recreated that Tech backpack vibe. And then also some nice continuous printing, which I love to see. From the torso, and especially in the waist too, and then down to the legs. Removing the goggles, you get a nice look at Tech, just with his regular face. And I think they did a pretty nice job with that. But he also has a second face, and I'm not really sure if I ever particularly remember seeing Tech without his goggles on, so this was interesting to see. And then removing his backpack, you can see they provided some back print, which is always nice to see. And I think they recreated the guns. These are pretty nice Lego things for Tech's guns. Wrecker's was a bit more, I would say a bit inaccurate. And up next, I think I have my favorite minifigure out of these, Hunter, just because I think his comes across the nicest. The others have some slight modifications that were not really so slight, but a bit inaccurate, and I think this is the most accurate, along with Crosshair. I just like how Hunter looks more because it just looks so custom and like something you'd see out of Clone Army Customs, and it's really cool to see this minifigure. I also love the two knives that come with him. Fortunately, his helmet off look doesn't come across nearly as well, which really sucks because I think Hunter is definitely the most iconic without his helmet. His headband's really supposed to be more around his hair, so it definitely doesn't have the same kind of look with his helmet like under the hair as you have here with the Lego. Though I'm not really sure how Lego would have done that, like with the headband like around his hair, so can't really blame them on that one. And then here we have a much more determined looking Hunter. Up next we have Echo, which I think honestly probably might be even more inaccurate than Tech. I'm not really sure though. I don't know, maybe a tie. With Echo, his helmet should have probably been a new mold. His helmet definitely isn't really the same like average like clone helmet, and then of course you see they didn't add like a little screwdriver thing with his hand like it should be. They just put a gray hand. And fun fact, in the Lego instruction manual, you know how they like instruct you how to like build the minifigure, they actually have the gun in this hand, which is kind of weird, but yeah. I feel it would have been nice detail if they had just, like they usually put in the right hand, but it would have been cool if they had just had it in the left hand for this minifigure. And then, on the Echo, like, character, he has this, like, side flaps on his leg, And they kind of put that in Lego form, but they didn't continue it, and it looks a little weird. I just wish they had taken like an actual side flap so you can like put down the figure. That would have been awesome because I really like getting those. But unfortunately, they didn't. We do have a nice arm print though, which is awesome to get, and some nice back print as well. And even though he is inaccurate, he looks super cool. And he also has a nice face print. You know how they did all those experiments with him? They did that pretty nicely in Lego and didn't give him that clone skin tone because he was definitely a lot paler after all the experiments he went through. This is pretty cool to see. And next we have Crosshair, and Lego accidentally spoiled Season 1 of the Bad Batch with this guy. Because this released before Bad Batch release, so they labeled this Death Troopers as Crosshair, so it kind of tipped everyone off that Crosshair was going to turn into a bad guy, so yeah, not so good on Lego's part there. Sure, Disney got a little upset with them. Definitely a cool looking figure with the Death Trooper vibe. And that'd be cool if Crosshair is the first Death Trooper. I mean, I think he is, and that's what like they're kind of like trying to tell you there. Get a long range sniper low blaster there. Nice helmet look. That definitely looks pretty cool with the black and green. And I think Crosshair probably looks the coolest for the face print, just because Crosshair just looks really cool even without the helmet on. And this was awesome to see in Lego form. They did this pretty much perfectly. Just a side note, I'm kind of hoping they do like Crosshair's Death Trooper squad. That would be an awesome little Lego thing to see, like him with his other Death Troopers, like in a Lego set. I wouldn't say a battle pack. That seems like a waste of a battle pack, but maybe a minifigure pack. Then last we have the Gonk Droid, or Gonky. And this was cool to see, like, that Lego made a minifigure of this guy, though. I think some people would have wanted to see Omega, but I honestly prefer the Gonk Droid, and I'll get into that later. But yeah, pretty nice build. Looks like a Gonk Droid. Conveyed it across awesome, perfectly, like, yeah. And now onto the speeders, which Lego included because the Bad Batch Shuttle isn't really up to that $100 price range, so they included these really nice looking speeders, to be honest. Though the problem with including speeders is I think a lot of people just kind of throw theirs in a closet or something. Though I guess this is more of like a kid's playset, so I'm sure kids are definitely going to use these. So I guess that's nice, but I'm personally mine just going to go like a pile or something. Never going to really use these. Maybe I misbuilt it, but for me this doesn't really perfectly go in the minifigure's hands. Like you can't really get both in there. Switch it up so you can kind of see like Echo's hand is like just kind of barely like hitting it, touching it, so you can't really have, for me personally, like both of their hands in there at once. That kind of sucks. And on the back you get a little thing to put like when they're weapons or something. And up next we have Crosshair's speeder bike, which is definitely in my opinion the cooler looking one. We have two little racks for weapons, and that more like advanced like little speeder bike holder like that wasn't seen in the other speeder bike. So this is like what they use on like more builds, like the snow bikes used for the snow troopers and stuff, so minifigures can actually hold it. It's definitely looking pretty nice with Crosshair on there, and you can get the hands at angles, which you couldn't get with other speeder bike. You can see his little sniper there on the side. And so onto the main build itself, the Bad Batch Shuttle. Something I really don't like with this is, I think they couldn't really fix this, but you know, when it's up you can see this outer workings thing with the wings, but my main problem is on this wing, like, at a certain angle it just does not look good, especially like with the light only being on one side. I really wish they had made it so it just kind of like symmetrical on both sides with this top fin. I really mind with this. I'm probably gonna buy a stand somewhere so I can like have it display it like flying, because it looks really nice that way. Not so much like this way. I wish they kind of like provide a stand instead of the speeders, but understand they had like how to have a play feature for the kids, because this is more of a kid set. And this is how it looks with both wings down, looking really nice. And something I really like is just these little flashlights on the side. I just love how those look. And kind of the blue gray tiled off version of this definitely looks nice. If you want to see how like, yeah, so the wings go up and down. And one problem fans have with the set is the Bad Batch is actually gray. It looks light blue in space at certain angles, but it's actually gray. But I do understand why they made it light blue, because this is like a kid set, and you don't want to have like kids playing with like an Imperial looking vehicle that's more menacing, especially with the Bad Batch, because they're like rebels kind of. This is like their kind of HQ, and they're more of like a family kind of, and be a bit weird like if this was a menacing gray and black Imperial looking ship kind of. I wish they had, I'm fine with this, but I do wish they had like made it black gray and then but had like scratch marks along the side to make it seem more like a home kind of, and not some clean like polished off Imperial ship, you know what I mean? I did see a giant mock of this at Brick Fair, and that was really awesome to see. Really cool. And on the back we have these two engines that can be closed with these engine closes right here. These are decals, not cane. They didn't come out that way. So yeah, I really like how the blue engine pieces look pretty nice. And something that thankfully does come in this set like this is this, whatever you want to call it, window piece. Thankfully this is not a sticker, because that would have really sucked if you had messed that up. And to open the set, you can kind of like just push up with this. To really get to the window piece, you're going to have to open the whole thing up. So not much interior space in there, but I don't mind too much. It's a bit cozy. Something I really love about this set is just those posters on the side. It kind of gives it like a personality almost, because like I said, this is like the home of the Bad Batch. Like Clone Wars didn't really matter with the ships. Clone Wars didn't really have a home like Rebels and Bad Batch, because they followed the stories of a lot of different people like Anakin and Ahsoka, and I'm not sure if it really ever explicitly showed their living quarters, to be honest. This is like the house of the Bad Batch. So I guess it definitely sucks you don't get much interior space in here. I don't mind, it's just a little cozier for me. So unfortunately you can only fit 3 figs in here, and that one's a bit of a squeeze. But you do have some nice space in this cockpit, and it definitely sucks because you can't even fit tech in here. And not much less gonky. Like, you'd have to take up this whole area to fit them in. There's this cool little area where you can like put a few weapons in. Pretty small, but a nice little add-on detail. I think some people would have rather had extra space to put a few more minifigs though. And if you only want to open the cockpit, it's going to be like, you can only open up that much. So you're going to have to open up this whole baby if you want to like open it up. Also an additional detail, I just really like how these sides look. It just looks really just awesome. So this is how the underside looks. Not as pretty on the underside as the top, but you know, playset. Some flick fire missiles here. For me, I found the best way is to have like something like this with 2 fingers on the side and then 1 finger on the underside to hold it, but I think I have bigger hands than the age of the kids that this is directed to play with. 9 up for building, so yeah, I think smaller children are going to have more trouble with this, especially because if you try picking up here, you're just going to end up launching those flick fire missiles. You definitely cannot pick it up by the top. This whole thing will just break off, which really sucks, because, you know, we're going to want someone with smaller hands to be, like, just picking up in one area and not having to, like, yeah, and probably not going to be able to fit it all in their one hand. Just something I wish they had done is for Crosshair, I just wish we had gone the regular version of Crosshair, not the Death Trooper Crosshair, because they didn't feature Omega in this set, which a lot of people wanted. And so I think what I wish they had done is, I wish they had like, you know, the original Bad Batch crew with Echo, Hunter, Tech, Wrecker, and then regular Crosshair. So you could have the original crew, because I don't think we're ever gonna get like the regular Crosshair in the Lego set now, because this is the only Bad Batch set we have, and if we get any more, it's not gonna be from season 7 of Clone Wars. So there's a chance, because there's only like maybe 2 episodes with Crosshair's his regular form before he turned bad. So yeah, we only got one of this so far too, and we're like, Bad Batch has been out for a while, so that really sucks. Future sets are probably gonna get Omega and some other characters. So that's what I wish they had done, since they didn't include Omega with this. I wish they had, and they would have saved some trouble with Disney too. Like Disney wouldn't have gone mad at them over this Death Trooper thing. So that definitely sucks. For minifigures, I give this an 8. Like I said, with the crosser thing, I would have liked that more. And also for some inaccuracies with the minifigures. Builds, maybe like a 7. Bad Batch Shuttle, you could have more interior space. Speeder bikes are definitely needed for the set, considering this is $100. Overall, maybe like a 7.5, 8-ish. I really like the set. I mean, this would be awesome to have on a display stand, but they don't provide one, so if you're going to display it, this is how it's going to look on your shelf, and if you're going to play with it, well, like I said, it's going to be a bit difficult to hold for smaller hands. The minifigures, honestly, like, for me personally, do carry this set. Like, I think a lot of people are going to be buying it for these minifigures. I mean, they're just so cool. Anyways, that's the review, and see you in the next one.